Welcome to another edition of Inside Guyana. Today, we are in ITV studio once again, our cameraman, Mr. Ravi, and our producer, Mr. Prakash. With me, our special guest is a person who has been on this program before the Guyana elections, and he has returned from Guyana, and we have him again in our studio. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming attorney at law from the Rambarran Law Firm in New Jersey, Mr. Moses Rambarran. Sir, welcome to the program Inside Guyana once again.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jadoopat. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be back after some very exciting election results in Guyana.
Well, that is what we're going to discuss here today, Mr. Rambarran. I'm sure our viewers will be very, very happy to hear from you in person what actually transpired during the elections. We've been hearing a lot of stuff on the social media, especially about all kinds of things. People were scared, people were intimidated, people were doing like fraudulent stuff with the elections there. The PPP seems not to be happy about the election results up to now. And we will be very happy if you can share some of our experiences in Guyana, live and direct. Tell our viewers, please, first of all, when did you go to Guyana?
Well, I went to Guyana on or about May 3rd. I was in Guyana. And I landed there especially for the elections.
Okay, so when you landed in Guyana, you participated in some campaign stuff there, is that correct?
Yes.
Which organization did you campaign for?
Well, the APNU and the Coalition Party, we supported that party, and we're happy that the result is successful. I want to congratulate the Guyanese public, the citizens. Over 400,000 people participated in the elections. And to have true democracy, Guyanese citizens must come out and participate. They did in this election, and they should remember in future elections, if you want to affect change and if you want your voice to be heard, you must vote.
So you campaign on behalf of the coalition, APNU plus AFC. Tell us some of the places that you actually went campaigning.
Well, what we did is we had a phone booth, so a phone center in which we made telephone calls to a long list of people, and it was really a great experience to speak to the Guyanese people, and actually, in garnering their support for change, you get to actually speak to them and hear what their opinions were, and so many Guyanese were ready for a change. They want Guyana to be different. They want Guyana to be a country of opportunity for the children. They want Guyana to be an opportunity for the children who are graduating universities there. They want to have a future for their people in Guyana.
So, Mr. Rambarran, what are some of the main concerns of the Guyanese people expressed to you when you're talking to them?
Well, most Guyanese really resorted back to, are you a supporter of the PPP or the APNU or the former PNC party? There are many Guyanese who are still fell into that category. I think what was great observation and an important stride for the Guyanese people is that they placed that division to the side, and they said, what has the administration that's been ruling, in particular under Barry Jagdeo, for almost 2 decades, what have they done for us? And it's either you're going to align with the party just for the sake of aligning with that party, or you're going to say to yourself, do I want change in Guyana? Have this party done anything for me? Or are they just there making themselves better?
Okay, so you were pointing there probably to corruption. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think it's widespread.
Making themselves better, that's what I'm holding on to. You said they're making themselves better. Is that something that you think that people felt strongly about?
Well, Dr. Jadoopat, I don't think they've not only felt strongly about that, it is blatant. It is an absolute fact that the past administration, for almost 2 decades, have done so much for themselves, their families, and the regime that really they orchestrated. I think the Guyanese people were to a point where they said, we cannot condone this anymore. We've got to live in a country. We want growth. We want hope and change for the future of their children. And last time I was here, I discussed with you, I would like to see Guyanese stop leaving Guyana and remain there. I told you that the most important resource that the country has is its people.
The human resources.
The human beings that are constantly leaving Guyana and coming to countries such as this great United States and other Caribbean countries, and the talents are being given there because they have an opportunity to raise a family and to go to bed at nights without the worry of crime. I want to see a reversal of tides where this administration now have to change things the way they were. The way they were, it was a government that ran the country for the government. This administration has got to be government for the people, by the people.
Okay, Mr. Rambarran, you mentioned something just now about security. While you were there, can you please tell our viewers if you felt any kind of danger for your life? Did anyone threaten you, or did you feel unsafe at any time, or do you have special protection?
Well, let me just say to the Guyanese people, to my fellow Guyanese people, I was there for the elections, and there were fear-mongering imparted by many of the leaders of the PPP party. And I was there. I did not witness a single incident of violence. There was an incident in Sophia in which a car was burnt, but it was
But that was after the elections.
That's correct. It was an isolated incident. It was not what was going on in Guyana or throughout Guyana. So there was an uproar of violence. I was very proud of our people that participated in the election and really trusted the process to work. And remember, we had so many international observers that it's very hard to have any type of voter fraud. And the Guyanese public trusted the process that was put in place.
Right. So now you're bringing me to the other question here I have prepared for you. To share with our viewers, please, since you've been there, you've observed the election processes, you went to some of the polling stations, I would hope. Tell us, did you observe that the processes were like unfair? What did you actually saw on the ground there at the polling stations and on the streets of Guyana during election time?
Well, what I saw was complete organization, and I was happy to see that. The polling stations that I observed had, if you walk into a polling station, they would have at least 4 or 5 members at that station. You, a Guyanese citizen, you meet with one of those persons, they read your name aloud, they find you on a list, the other 3 people then corroborate your name, and they want to make sure that this person is, the voters recorded, they are who they say they are, you present your voter ID card, and then you're given the opportunity to go cast your ballot. And you cast that ballot, and you place the ballot, it's stamped with a number, it's placed into a secure box, and anyone voting there, you can see that it's very hard to manipulate that process at the polling stations.
So it was transparent, is that what you're saying?
It was very transparent and very organized, and many Guyanese waited on lines, and I was proud to see that because it's democracy in action. They're waiting to vote to have their leader declared.
So how would you compare that? You being fortunate to have lived in the United States, and I'm sure you participated in the electoral processes here in America. How would you compare that with the Guyana elections?
I was impressed. I was impressed with the process. As you know, I voted in America. I've been into the polling stations, and but for certain polling stations that have the mechanical way of voting or computerized way of voting, Guyana is still we don't have that technology yet. It would be great to see in the future if this administration can work in bringing in a voting machine so that it will diminish or eliminate voter fraud.
So what, you mentioned something about the procedures there. You go into the polling station, they call your name or you call your name, they look at your registration card and all of that stuff. Did you see any form of intimidation, as is claimed by some of the opposition, or let's say the PPP officials?
Absolutely not. I think that the PPP were putting fear into people so that they would not come out and vote, and I think that was their hope, and I'm proud of the Guyanese people that did not buy into that. I'm sure many did, but the polling stations throughout Georgetown, many that I drove by personally, there were lines of people, and they were orderly and they were respectful, and the process worked. One of the changes I would suggest, if the same process is going to be in place in 5 years, is that I was surprised to see that we had to X our box with the pencil. I would prefer like a felt pen or something that cannot be erased. That did give me, and many voters that I spoke to, just a level of discomfort.
Okay, so they use a pencil instead of a pen.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Rambarran, now that we've listened to you on the electoral process, let's move on now. What really caused the delay in announcing the results in elections? Are you aware of any of the problems that were faced?
Well, I was acutely in tune with what was going on with the elections or the results, what we anticipated. The anticipated winner or expected winner was the APNU and the coalition party. Mr. Jadoopat was really the face of the PPP party in the media in Guyana. Although he has not been the president, it was not the former President Romantar, but we kept constantly seeing Mr. Jadoopat. I thought that in his communications to the public, to Guyanese and the voting public, was one of intimidation. Two was almost like you have a fair ball game in the park of the school park, and he was a sore loser. And I thought that he incited the citizens of Guyana to rebel against what I thought was a fair process, and most Guyanese thought it was a fair process, and many Guyanese were just calling on the PPP party to be respectful, congratulate the new winners, and have an orderly transition of power. Had that happened, there would have been some dignity to how it was done, but the manner in which it was handled was undignified.
So what are some of your recommendations do you have to the new government, now that we have heard the list of ministers tabled recently? Do you have anything to say to them, or what aspect of Guyana's economic and political and social life would you want to make recommendations? for improvement.
Right. President Granger, I really urge you that you've nominated, selected, you've named your cabinet. It is my hope that those individuals put their job at the forefront, put the people of Guyana and their interests at the forefront of any other interests. It should not be for a party. It should not be for a race. I want to see the references to this Kuli, which was reference to the Indo-Guyanese, and blacks, and to the Afro-Guyanese. I want us to be one. And I think the government and the cabinet has a great influence in uniting our country. And you've got to manage the entire country in that way. Number two is that you've got to be very careful that we don't repeat history. Many ministers and many people in position of power and position of making major decisions for the country that were not qualified. President Granger must make sure that the ministers named are qualified and are able to do their job that they were selected to do.
Okay, so you as a businessman, as an attorney at law in the United States, would you consider going back to Guyana or encourage investors from the United States to go back to invest in Guyana?
Of course, yeah. My heart is in Guyana. I told you that the last time I was here, it is my intent to return to Guyana on a full-time basis and participate in the government, participate in business. I urge the present administration to do not give away our industries or resources to foreigners, and work and design and implement plans whereby the Guyanese people are participating and benefiting from it. One example of that is the fishing industry, in which I believe there was on the table a plan in which that was going to be given to the Chinese. What happened to the fisherman who depends on that earning to feed his family? And our public Guyanese people, it's a great tradition. You go and you buy fresh fish from our people. I urge the government to put our people first, put the business people first. There are many hard-working Guyanese businessmen that are struggling. The economists of Guyana, they must be able to formulate a working policies that benefit the people, benefit the people that employ other Guyanese. There's got to be a reduction on the import taxes that's presently in place, such as it's almost costs you triple to bring in a car. This just doesn't make sense on any level. Let the people open the borders to free trade. Guyanese are very industrious and very smart people. You let them go, President Granger, and let them grow our beautiful country, as you said in your inaugural address.
This is not something of the past, but of the recent activities of the last government, the previous government. Corruption. We saw that the new Minister of National Security declared that there were irregularities with regards to passports and Guyana citizenship being sold and all of that. How do you think this new administration should handle the violation of Guyana's constitution by the previous government?
Well, I think that
from a legal perspective, because I know you're in a law practice here, and you might be able to give our viewers a better understanding of the situation and how to handle it.
Well, I would like to see a complete audit of the former administration's activities, both on a fiscal level and on a level in which favors were done to different ministries. I think I'm going to urge this president and new administration that corruption on any level is just simply unacceptable to have a truly democratic country. your friends and your family alone are not to benefit from those positions. They have to cease corruption.
So, from a legal perspective again, how should they deal with the past administrations, not inefficiencies, but violations of the
Well,
law?
I think that anyone that violated the Constitution, including the former President Barry Jagdeo, have to be held accountable, and whether or not that includes criminal charges to be brought, I think this government, this present administration, if the country of Guyana, and I call it it's the rape of a nation, if the rape of the nation can be proved and you can point to responsible parties, those people, individuals and leaders, should be prosecuted. Why should they be held above the law?
Mr. Rambarran, we are coming to the end of our interview, and now you have the opportunity, as always, on this program Inside Guyana, to address our ITV viewers. Tell them your perspective. How do you foresee the new Guyana, so to speak, meaning the Guyana's development as will now be taking place under this new administration, which you supported recently?
Yes, thank you, Doctor. My fellow Guyanese, I was proud to be at home in our country and witnessing the electoral process. I'm a Guyanese, born Guyanese, I'm a Guyanese at heart, although I live and practice law in America, my heart's always there in Guyana. I want to see our country change, and I want to see change for the better. I want the young children to have a future. I want to see parks. I want to see recreational places made for children. I want to see a plan for graduates of university. I want to see more professional schools. Let us build more. There is one medical school down in Guyana. Let's put a law school down in Guyana. I want to have the country to a point where our people are not leaving. And I've never witnessed that, as opposed to, I've never witnessed the return of migrants, that people who have left so long ago now return to Guyana. I want to see that reversal of tide. And I want to see that Guyanese families are not forced to break up because they're sending their children, their sons, their daughters, the brothers and sisters away to America and other great nations to study. We can be that great nation in Guyana. Under this new administration, corruption must not be tolerated, and the people's interests must be put at the forefront. I was very proud of the Guyanese people as well in their participation in social media. And I urge all Guyanese to follow your fellow Guyanese on Facebook. Most of the information, or a great deal of the information on the electoral process was put out by many participants on social media, and it was amazing to see and to read the expressions of many Guyanese. I was proud to read the thoughts and we must kill racism. If we don't kill racism, it'll kill our country. We are one people, and let's go forward. I hope I can sit here in 5 years and I can see a beautiful infrastructure in Guyana, and schools in Guyana, and medical facilities and hospitals. We can do it, and we're great people, and I look forward to the next 5 years.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses Rambarran. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the program Inside Guyana. Our cameraman, Mr. Ravi, and on behalf of the management and staff and our producer, Prakash, I want to thank you very much for watching. Until next time, this is yours truly, Dr. Rudy Jadoopat, wishing you all the best.
Thank you.